So today we're going to talk about something that can change your life, and that is, how can you make your spouse happy? So we're going to talk about a scenario, a situation, a desire, a wish today that a lot of married people have, and that is, how can I make my spouse happy? So to understand what we're going to talk about, there are some foundational things that it's important that you understand, and there are several other videos on our channel that you can go back in and watch. But we're going to talk about beliefs, and we're going to talk about principles today, because all of that comes together in this desire of, how do I make my spouse happy? So first of all, that statement is a question, and I may have a desire to make my spouse happy, and I may have a belief that I can make my spouse happy. Now, here's what we know about our lives, is that everything we do for a reason, or we wouldn't do it. And the main reason for which everything that we do is because we believe that by doing what it is that we're doing, it will make us happy. It will give us more happiness in our life. So let's first of all just explore that belief a little bit about, so how do I make my spouse happy? My first question would be, why do I want to make my spouse happy? Is that a healthy desire? Is it a good desire? Maybe I want to make my spouse happy because if she's happy, then I'm happy. Maybe I've grown up with the belief that it's my responsibility to make my spouse happy. So in order for me to be a, quote, good husband or to be a good wife, then I need to make my spouse or partner happy. So think about that. That's a belief. That belief is going to drive our behavior. If it's my responsibility, in my case, to make my wife happy, then all of my behavior is going to be done in a way that I think will make her happy. But we've talked about the foundational principles or laws that exist in this world in which we live and which affect relationships. And so one of those is control. And what we learned about the principle of control is, I don't have any control over anybody else. I only have control over myself. I have control over my conscious thoughts, my emotions, and my behavior. So if I believe that it's my responsibility to make my spouse happy, that's in violation of a principle. Because regardless of what I do, I cannot make my wife happy. I can't make her unhappy. She has the choice to choose whether she's going to be happy or unhappy. Well, let's say that we both kind of agree with this false belief. Let's say that my wife feels like it's my responsibility to make her happy, and I feel like it's my responsibility to make her happy, and I'm going to become conditioned over time with what I need to do in order for her to be happy. So let's say that we are first married, and I come home from work one day, and I get home at 6 o'clock, and my wife is upset, and she tells me that she's unhappy because I'm late coming home from work, and she expected me to be home at 5:30. Well, so now I'm a smart husband, and I go, okay, in order to make my wife happy, I know that I need to be home from work every day at 5:30. So the next day I come home from work at 5:30, and my wife is happy. I come home the next day at 5:30, and she's happy. And this goes on for a period of time. But one day I come home from work at 5:30, and my wife is still unhappy. Now what? I'm home by 5:30, but she's unhappy. But it's my responsibility to make her happy. So there must be something else now that I'm doing or not doing. And maybe she says, we don't have enough money in the checking account. So she doesn't have enough money to buy or do something. So now I have a belief that in order for my wife to be happy, I need to be home at 5:30 and I need to have enough money in the checking account for her to buy whatever it is that she wants or needs to buy. So as we go further and further, though, you begin to realize that that's a false belief. Because in any situation or circumstance, my wife still has the choice to be happy or not be happy. Everything that I do just influences her. So again, this is a kind of a common and a simple situation in which our beliefs drive our behavior. And if our beliefs are not based on principle, then we're going to be doing things that we think are giving us the outcomes that we want, when in reality, they're not. And so, as I explained in that situation, my wife, Tony, she could believe that I'm responsible for her happiness. And then every time she's unhappy, she's going to focus on me and she's going to blame me and be able to say, well, I'm unhappy because you did this or you didn't do that. She is now out of control in her life and she has no control over her own happiness. I may feel like it's my responsibility to make her happy. And so all of my energy and efforts are focused on trying to control her. Now both of us are out of control in our own life, which is going to lead ultimately to resentment and unhappiness on both of our parts. And it's no wonder that we have so many marriages and relationships that are unsuccessful in this world, and that's because we have these false beliefs of what a successful relationship looks like and what it is that brings happiness to us in our own life. So we'll have future videos that will talk about happiness and what that is and where happiness comes from and how to achieve happiness in our life. But for now, just understand that if you have a belief that you can make your spouse happy, you're living under a false illusion. You're being deceived. You think that you can accomplish something that you can't. Now that doesn't mean I don't care about my wife and I don't care about her happiness. No, I do care, but I don't have responsibility for it. I'm not accountable. Another principle, right? Each one of us are accountable for our own lives. So I'm not accountable for her happiness, but because I love her, I'm going to do everything in my power to influence her to be happy. But there's a difference between striving to influence and allowing her to be responsible and accountable versus feeling like I'm the one that's responsible. If I truly love my wife and accept her, I can allow her to be unhappy. There's a reason that she's unhappy. It's a choice that she's making. And if I step in and I try to control that, I just may create more of what I don't want and create more actual unhappiness in the relationship than if I was to back off and trust her that she will be able to figure it out and work through this on her own or with support, but she's the one that can fix her unhappiness, not me. So you want to be happy in your own life, take responsibility for yourself, take accountability for yourself, allow others to take accountability for themselves, and love and accept them for who they are. That's the best thing that you can do to influence your spouse to be happy. Love and accept them for who they are. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, go ahead and like it, ring the bell, and come back and see us again tomorrow.